not remember you kindly for what you have done. They will not. As a matter of fact, history might not remember you at all.
Isaiah Martin was speaking out against President Trump's calls to add more Republicans to Congress through redistricting.
You need to have shame. History will not remember you for what you have done. It is a shame. It is horrific for what you have.
Martin now faces misdemeanor charges of resisting arrest, criminal trespass, and disrupting a meeting.
It's Ken Harbaugh with the MeidasTouch Network. How many times have I said on this show that we need more Democratic leaders with some fight in them? You might have seen my interview a few months ago with Isaiah Martin, who you just saw in that viral clip. If you had any doubt back then about Isaiah's willingness to fight for his constituents, for democracy, well, he put those doubts to rest at that hearing in Texas, led by Republicans intent upon forcing through one of the most egregious gerrymandering schemes in our nation's history on the orders of Donald Trump. I spoke with Isaiah after he was released from jail and cleared of all charges. Here's our conversation. Welcome to the Ken Harbaugh Show. I've got Isaiah Martin back. You just saw that unbelievable clip of Isaiah being dragged to the ground for speaking the truth by calling out this offensive, outrageous attempt to subvert democracy in Texas by stacking the deck against Democrats and for Republicans, leading to a dramatic overrepresentation of ours in that delegation. And Isaiah and other Texans are having none of it. But the very act of speaking up merited that kind of violence. Isaiah, first of all, I'm sorry you went through that. I know you're strong and you're resilient and you're able to laugh about it now. But take us back to that moment. I mean, it was just a few days ago. Yeah. It can be terrifying because you don't know how it's going to go. You don't know if some overzealous cop is going to decide to make a name for himself, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, going to jail wasn't on my bingo card for this year, but, here we are. I mean, ultimately, what you saw there is Texas Republicans doing everything they can to silence people because they thought that, by doing this to me, that they would teach me a lesson by sending me to jail and then I would just come out and be quiet about it. And ultimately what they just did, I mean, they're just so stupid. This is Republicans. They now ignited so many people, millions of people across America talking about how this gerrymandering scam is ridiculous and how failed their policies are. So, I mean, yeah, it was a terrible experience. Going to jail is not fun, but I think now I can come out on the laughing end of the stick because America has seen just how insane these idiots actually are.
The charge was Mr. Martin refused to obey, which I hope we see on bumper stickers, right?
100%.
What happened to the charges? Are you going away for 20 years? I mean, I know the answer, but tell our audience just how ridiculous the entire scenario was from a legal perspective.
Yeah, all the charges were dropped. I mean, what was even funnier about this whole thing is when they take me up, right? They take me outside the Capitol. All the officers around me thought that, they were just going to say like, okay, don't come back for the rest of the day or whatever, right? But the guy who tackled me, Officer Pillsbury Doughboy, as I call him, he goes and he gets this phone call. And he's waddling around, talking on the phone. I don't know who he's talking to. And all of a sudden he comes up to me and he says, you're going to be placed under arrest for resisting arrest and trespassing. And I thought to myself, first of all, you never told me I was under arrest. Second of all, how can you trespass in the state taxpayer funded Capitol at a hearing that I was scheduled to speak at? Well, none of it made any sense. But again, it wasn't about them trying to actually put charges on me. It was about teaching me a lesson. They knew that sending me to jail would, I guess, invoke fear into so many people in the state to not want to go and testify at their own hearings. So, like I said, the whole thing was a joke. To be honest with you, it was a 30-hour period that I was in jail. And when they came on the intercom and they told me that to come to the very front, I thought I was going to court. I had no idea that these charges had been dropped. And at that time, I'm thinking like, I'm running for Congress. I haven't showered in 2 days. I got to get myself right, because it's like this is about to be everywhere. And then the guard basically says, go down to the front. I get in an elevator. She says, you're going to make a right and you're going to go and you're going to get your stuff and you're going to get out of here. And I was looking at her like, what? Wait, what? Right? But, I read like the 48 laws of power, never interrupt your opponent when they're making a mistake, And so I was thinking like, okay, let's just run with this and see what happens. And I walk to the inn, I change my clothes, and the last officer tells me, all your charges have been dropped. And so I was immediately shocked, and then walk out and I see all the TV cameras outside, and I was like, wow, this really popped off. But like I said, these Republicans are stupid. And they inadvertently created a firestorm on just how insane their policies are.
Stupid and cowardly. And this is a refrain I am repeating again and again because I think it helps to remind ourselves of it in this moment. We all know that courage is contagious, and watching actions like yours inspires so many other people. But we're beginning to realize that cowardice is contagious too. And the Republican cowards who thought they could cow you, just a few hours later, you're back in front of them and they've got nothing to say. Let's roll that clip right here because it's fantastic.
You Republicans tried so hard to silence me. You had me thrown in jail. And I wanted to come here to look every single one of you in the eye and let you know personally that you failed. You tried and you failed. Just like you will try and fail when it comes to this gerrymandering scheme that you're about to pull off. But as a result of what you have done, millions more are now talking about this sham that you guys have perpetuated. More states have come forward saying that they are going to gerrymander Republicans out of their seats. That is the cost of what you have done, because the people will rise up, whether you like it or not.
Were those the same Republicans? Is that the same committee that had you dragged out and thrown to the floor 30 hours earlier?
Yes, it was. And honestly, that was probably the most satisfying moment of my life. Just to go and watch them turn bloodshot red, as you literally see, I guess, in that clip, me just lighting into them. I mean, because I wanted to look them in the eye personally to let them know they didn't stop anything. They failed.
Hey, it's Ken Harbaugh. Quick break to say thank you to everyone who's been following and supporting this show and this channel. None of it happens without you. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my Substack page, I'd really appreciate the follow. It's a great way to make sure you never miss an episode. It's free to sign up. And if you're able to pitch in a few bucks, every dollar goes back into the show. Just search for The Ken Harbaugh Show on Substack or click the link below. Thanks.
They tried so hard to suppress what I had to say in the voices of so many people. Because remember, I didn't do this, because I just wanted to just pop off. I was sitting in a hearing room for 4 hours and I watched these Republicans talk to grandmothers and laugh at them, basically, as they're pouring their heart and souls out about why they don't want to see Medicaid cuts and why they don't want to see these ridiculous district lines. And so I saw them have to eat crow immediately in front of the same constituency that they seek to suppress. And honestly, it was a great moment in my life that I'll never forget.
I want people to look at the makeup of that committee as I ask you an uncomfortable, but I think inevitable question. Do you think I would have been treated the same way?
It's a good question. I don't know. But, I think ultimately what the Republicans are looking into right now are trying so hard to get seats because they're so unpopular. Right. So they're coming after our district because ultimately they're down 8 points in the polls. They're the most unpopular presidency at this point in American history to start a presidency. I mean, it's unbelievable. And so, look, I think that they would come after everybody. Look, they came after me and they'd come after you. They'd come after all of us. It's insane.
Well, that is an incredibly graceful answer. I think there's a racial element here, and I'll just be the one to say it. And I appreciate you being diplomatic about it. But can you explain what's at stake for the country? Because, I mean, this seems like an esoteric redistricting question for Texas, but it's not. I mean, this is coming from the top. This is Donald Trump shaking in his boots saying, I'm about to have a final check on my authority in the House of Representatives. We got to do anything we can to keep it. And that's the order that Texas is implementing. It's an order from the boss, right?
100%. I mean, because these weak Republicans, I mean, they know that they have to get Trump's endorsement. That's what this is all about. These Republican state reps know that a Trump tweet is all that's necessary to completely wreck their entire lives, right? So they know, look, that them sitting in that committee room, they have no choice. They don't know what the heck is going on. They're just sitting up there to rubber stamp anything Trump does because they're Republican puppets. Ultimately, what we need in this country are folks that are willing to say that instead of just trying to appease these losers and be more focused on saying, look, this is what the Republicans do. How are we going to make this country more affordable? Make America more affordable is my top agenda in this country. And I think that if we focus on that, we're going to wipe these guys out in the biggest electoral landslide that we've seen in a generation.
Well, say more about that, because I like to end on an optimistic note whenever I can. Share with this audience what you shared with me about just the grassroots energy of your campaign, what you're seeing across the district, and how it feels being at the tip of the spear when it comes to defending democracy.
Absolutely. Well, what I always know is that this campaign is about me. It's about all of us. And as a result of that, we have been able to raise in just a couple days $200,000 at an average of $17 a person because of the grassroots energy that we have seen in this campaign. 1,000 folks signed up to volunteer. So many people talking about it. Millions of views across the internet, an additional 100,000 followers on Instagram and other things like that. But most importantly, it is the emails I get from the grandmothers that are getting a few dollars of their Social Security checks to our campaign because they know and understand that they want somebody that's going to challenge the status quo and fight back against this stuff. So we are really seeing so much insurgency in our campaign. And I just couldn't be more proud to lead a movement of regular people looking to change this country for the better.
Where can people learn more about it, and how can they help?
Absolutely. They can go to IsaiahMartin.org, IsaiahMartin.org. You can chip into the campaign. You can also sign up to volunteer. You don't have to be in the district to volunteer. You can also be around the country because we do phone banks as well. But sign up to volunteer, chip into the campaign, and let's send these guys a message.
Isaiah, if I had planned ahead well enough, I would have pulled up one of our first emails back and forth where I said, Isaiah, I think what people are looking for is a fighter, is some energy and sticking it to the Republicans and Trump. I'm not sure I had quite in mind you going to jail for us, but thanks for doing it. And I really appreciate your leadership. Keep it up.
Absolutely, kid. Thanks so much.
New Meidas merch drop. Check out the latest pro-democracy sticker packs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and more. All at store.MeidasTouch.com.